Michael with AVIQ in Huntsville. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about turntables. The questions that I get asked the most for people that are new thinking about getting into vinyl. Basically, we've got two types of turntables. One is manual and one is automatic. The difference is, and there's some pros and cons. The automatic turntable, you push a button and the needle comes up, moves over and goes down. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to interact with it. And for some people that's a little scary because they're very sensitive. And it'll play to the end of the record and it will lift the needle and go back and shut it off. That's the pro of it. And for a new vinyl person, it may be a choice you'd like to make. The manual turntable typically has less moving parts, so their life cycle is probably 3 or 4 times longer. But you do have to interact with the needle and move it over and lower it and then pick it up at the end of the record. And some people are a little scared to get started that way. Now, the con on a automatic turntable is that because you do have other moving parts that are in the chassis and affect the tone arm and move it, there's a greater chance for them not being as accurate reproducing the sound because the needle's very sensitive. It's got to sit in the groove just right. It's got to be lined up right. And then you have mechanical noises that can be transmitted into the sound. This is a small thing, but then we're getting into why people really like vinyl and manual turntables. A manual turntable has nothing connected to the tone arm except very small wires that pick the signal up from the vibrations of the needle. So they move very well. They're easy to maintain. You usually have more choices for the type of cartridges and needles. So as you move up and want to do more and more with your sound, they will allow you to make some changes that the other turntables may not. Now, the other question I get is direct drive or belt driven. Well, direct drive, the motor sits underneath the platter that spins. And because of that, there is a chance that noise from that motor will get into vibrating and cause some sort of distortion in the signal. We're nitpicking here, but that is a possibility depending on the turntable. You get into a belt-driven turntable, the motor is isolated from the platter, and basically a rubber belt, like a rubber band, goes around the motor and the turntable, and that's what drives it. So you've isolated that motor's vibration from the platter itself, which should give you some sonic advantages. The makers of turntables all have slightly different views on how you isolate things and whatever, but if you're going to get into a turntable, there's several brands. You're looking at, for a manual turntable that has quality, has some upgrade pass, and will last you for decades, you're probably in the $800 to $1,500 range. And that sounds like a lot, but it literally is going to last you forever if taken care of. You go to a manual turntable to get a higher quality sound an automatic turntable, to get the high quality sound or a higher quality sound out of it, you're looking at somewhere around $2,500 to $3,000. And you can see the difference in price for the same basic sonic sound, for the same quality of sound, because one has much more moving parts. It's engineered with tolerances. We're looking at turntables tolerances of 10,000ths of an inch. It's pretty amazing they do what they do as well as they do it. But one of the things about vinyl is that the grooves that are cut in the record, if you can look at them through a microscope, they look like mountain ranges that are butted up against each other. And each one of those variations is a different vibration pattern of whatever had been recorded. So what you're trying to do is take the vibrations that are in the air and put them directly into the vinyl. And there's an argument that by doing that, it's more accurate than a lot of other formats. But the truth of the matter is vinyl sounds good. It's a lot of fun. It's a great hobby. And it's a whole lot more fun holding an album cover than it is flipping through your phone and reading it there. Anyway, those are the questions that I get the most about turntables. We'll probably do a video later of how you set a turntable up and some of those other things, because we get questions there. We will, if you purchase a turntable here, we will set it up correctly before you leave with it.